Hello everyone, welcome back to Ayumilove channel for another Awaken QSR content. In today's video, I'll be doing an in-depth guide on the legendary hero Mytheasia, who is obtainable through the rookie summon by completing the Adventure Chapter 2.8 as well as summoning her through the Advanced Summoning Crystal. Apart from that, Ace Developers has announced that Mytheasia will be available in the Magic Pass, which will be starting on the 16th of May 2022, which is tomorrow. At this point of the video recording. And before I dive into the content, if you enjoy this type of video, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also, if you're new to this channel, you can subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay up to date whenever I upload a video. Alright, so let's dive right into it. So this is my Mytheasia. So what I'll be discussing in this video is how her skills work, what stats to prioritize, what heroes that she synergizes best with, where is she good at, and the recommended gears to be equipped on her. So let's quickly get an overview of her stats. So she has a B rating for attack, S rating for health, A rating for defense, B rating for speed, and C rating for critical rate. Based from this overview of stats, B for attack and C for critical rate, she's not a damage dealer. And S rating for health and A rating for defense basically means she's a supportive or defensive hero in your team. And let's quickly talk about her overall design. So she has a green and bluish cyan theme. For her hair, dress, and equipment, she's currently equipped with a large staff with a big gemstone in it. And she has this windy aura that's encircling her and probably makes her float. And the cool part is she has these diamonds or gemstones around her waist. Perhaps it's used to make her float. I'm not so sure. Alright, so that's her overall design. And yeah, she has these horns, a wood horn on her forehead, which makes her pretty unique. Alright, so that's her overall design. And let's talk about her skills and trait. So her first trait is Gift of Life. Basically, this allows her allies to recover 5% or 10% of their max health if the target has a positive effect. And she'll get this 10% once you ascend her to second ascension. Basically what this means is whenever your hero has a positive effect and perform any ability such as a basic attack, special ability, or ultimate ability that does damage or does not do any damage, they'll be able to heal their health 5% or 10% of the max health. So this means that she synergizes best with a hero, another supporter hero that is able to provide a positive effect, or also known as buff in other games. Her next ability is the Life Drain. It's basically her basic attack that deals 50% damage and grants a shield for 2 turns to the ally with the lowest health. And the shield strength scales with this character's max health. So it's imperative to stack high amount of health stats on her so that she'll be able to generate a massive shield to protect her squishy heroes, such as like the attacker heroes in your team who has a lower health and defense stats. And second, the ability is her Healing Force that has a 3-turn cooldown. Basically, this one heals an ally and removes all negative effects from them. Healing scales with this Mythesia's max health. So it's imperative also to have her high amount of health so that she can deal massive amount of healing to that single target ally. And finally, this is her Trance Synergy, her ultimate ability that has a 4-turn cooldown. It heals all team members and revives all slain allies. This is the only ability that is capable of reviving an ally who has been defeated by the enemy. Apart from that, this AoE healing scales with this Mythesia's max health. The cooldown is extended by 2 turns for every ally revived. So this cooldown limitation is implemented to prevent her from being too overpowered. So if you have at least like 3 allies dead in your team, that means that 3 times 2 will be 6 turn cooldown on top of this basic 4 turn cooldown. So one way to limit her overpoweredness is to provide this to implement this cooldown. Alright, so that's it for this overview of her skills. I'll demonstrate her abilities in the guild boss to fully understand how these abilities work. And before I dive in, go in there, let me show you her gears. So basically, she's currently equipped in a revival set that restores 10% of her max health at the start of the turn, or 20% if under 50% health. So revival set is quite good for her, so that she'll be the last person standing in the battle, so that she will be able to revive all of her slain allies. And there are other sets that are good for her, which are Terra set. Terra set provides an additional 15% health, or Vanguard set to improve her defensive stats by 15%. There are also other players who uses a Dragon Scale set to reduce the critical damage dealt to Mytheasia up to 30%. And Dragon Scale set is only used for Arena. So let me show you what's the Dragon Scale set. You can head over to the Manage Gear tab and select this Dragon Scale set. And if you were to click on any of this Dragon Scale set, it says takes 30% less damage from critical strike. So this one is only useful for Arena or PvP, player versus player. And the good set would be like this one, Terra, Vanguard, as well as a Revival set. This one. So if you click on the Terra set, it provides 15% health. For Vanguard set, it's 15% defense. And Revival set will requires a 4-piece set, restores a 10% of max health at the start of the turn. Only this Terra set and Vanguard set only requires a 2-piece set here. Alright, so that's an overview of the recommended gears for Mytheasia. And let's dive right into it. What are the important stats to improve Mythesia's capabilities based on her skills? So I will highly recommend you to focus on the health percentage for the boots, ring and necklace. If you do not have sufficient health percentage gears, you can substitute it with substats of health percentage and defensive primary stats. So if you look at my gears here, I have a health primary stat boots, health primary stat ring, and a defensive primary necklace. For this necklace, I have a health percentage as the substat. So by obtaining a high amount of defense and health, this improves Mythesia's survivability significantly. And once you achieve these two stats as an early game or mid game player, then you can focus on other stats such as resistance and agility, like this one. This is the complete best substats for Mytheasia, which has the defense, agility, resistance and health. And once you're able to get all of these important stats, then as an early game to mid game player, then you can focus on getting sets to further improve or enhance Mythesia's survivability, such as like getting a 2 set of Terra and 2 set of Vanguard set, or 4-piece of a Revival set here. So let me go through each piece of equipment to show you how I gear Mytheasia. So this is the weapon. There's a triple roll on health substats here, resistance and flat health. Speed is not so useful for her because you want her to be the last to perform the AoE healing. And this is the helmet that has the best substats for Mytheasia that you need to get, which are defense, agility, resistance and health. And this is the chest plate with some health, quadruple health percentage, resistance and defense. This is the health primary boots. If you're unable to get health primary stats for the boots, you can go for defense primary stats boots with a health percentage substats. This one is not really good for her because I would rather get some defense to improve her survivability. However, if you're looking to improve her healing capabilities, blood stats health is also quite useful in that scenario. Right, so this is the health ring. It upgrade on resistance and defense. Focus is not useful for her because she does not apply any negative effect, or also known as debuff in other games. Critical damage or critical rate or attack stats does not suit her well because most of her skills are supportive skills and her basic ability does not do much damage. It's only 50% damage. And finally we have the necklace, which is a defense necklace and has a health percentage as the substats, speed, resistance and attack. Alright, so that's an overview of my gear and on how I gear her. So let's move on to the glyph. So for the glyph, I max her out. If you are insufficient, if you don't have sufficient energy to max them out, you can leave out this wild blood, which provides a 100 attack, which is not so useful for her. as well as the Shadow Blade that provides 10 speed. However, the resistance will be useful for her for these two that provides a plus 2% resistance to allow her to resist the negative effect applied by the enemies. All of her abilities are maxed out to improve her skills potential. So by maxing out her life drain, it increases her shield strength so that it will mitigate. So it has a higher capacity to mitigate the damage dealt by the enemy to the shield. And for her special ability Healing Force, which has a 3-turn cooldown, this will increase her healing potential as well as to reduce the cooldown from 4 turns to 3 turns. And finally, her ultimate ability Trance Synergy that has a 4-turn cooldown. By maxing this out, it will increase her healing potential as well as to reduce the skill cooldown from 5 turns to 4 turns. Alright, so let's show her in action on how her skills works in the guild boss. Alright, so we are now in the guild boss area where I will explain to you how her skill works. Let me quickly give you an overview of this Armor Incursion Water Element boss. Basically, this Water Element boss is big affinity to Mytheasia, so it's a good opportunity to showcase her since he will deal less damage to Mytheasia. And apart from that, he has a special trait known as the Anti-Fragile, which allows him to remove all negative effects on these characters at the end of the turn. In order to deal massive amount of damage to him, we will need to not rely on negative effect, but purely on raw damage. So I'll use Marian Shadowblood as my test subject for Mytheasia. Alright, so I'll put this battle on manual mode to explain how her skill works. So I'll use a basic attack from Marian Shadowblood. And now, right, so Mythesia's Life Drain basic ability will apply the shield to the ally with the lowest health. Since there's no ally here has the lowest health based on the percentage, the shield will be always placed on Mythesia. So Mythesia will place the shield on herself, and on the second round, Mythesia will apply the shield to Marian Shadowblood since she has a lower health percentage compared to Mythesia here. So if you take a look here, so now Marian Shadowblood has this shield, and whenever she performs an ability with this shield positive effect that's applied to her, she'll be able to benefit from Mythesia's Gift of Life passive trait here. So let me put this on 1-time speed. When Marian Shadowblood attacks with any positive effect, she'll be able to heal herself through Mythesia's trait. And now since Marian Shadowblood has this negative effect on her, which is the poison applied by the guild boss, then I'll use Mythesia's Healing Force special ability, which heals an ally and removes all negative effects from them. So that's how the cleansing works and healing as well. Right, so let me apply this Shield Mercy. Also, right, if the hero has a Shield of Mercy on them from this spell, she'll be able to benefit from Mythesia's trait because it's a buff applied to the hero. And once she's been defeated by the boss, I will showcase her revival abilities. Alright, so Marian Shadowblood is defeated. Now we will use Mythesia's Trance Synergy ultimate ability to revive her ally. So if there was no ally being defeated, this will be a 4-turn cooldown, and if she manages to revive an ally, each ally will increase the cooldown by +2. So let me click on the info tab. So as you notice here, the cooldown is 6 turns, and when she ends her turn, it becomes 5 turns. So this is the quick overview on how Mythesia's abilities work. So let me show you Mytheasia in a full-blown team for guild boss. Alright, so this is my main team to defeat the water guild boss for this current rotation. So basically I have Mytheasia here to provide healing, shield, and as well as revival in case any of my allies is being killed by the boss. Yolanda is here to provide additional support along with Mytheasia to provide shield and cleansing as well as bonus turn to my damage dealer. And William, on the other hand, will amplify all the allies' basic attack damage, especially for Urzac, and also to apply counter attack buff to further improve the damage output from Urzac, as well as provide some joint attacks from his basic ability. For the spells, I have selected Agile Leap to provide bonus turn to Urzac, as well as Shield of Mercy to protect William from dying or other allies dying quickly. Alright, to gain the maximum amount of damage, you'll need to run this battle on manual. So William is speed tuned to go first to apply the defense down. So let me apply the Shield of Mercy on him first, so that he can benefit from Mythesia's Gift of Life trait. The William's defense down only has 80% chance to apply, so it's based on luck as well. Alright, so we are now on Urzac's turn. I'll use Bloodthirst Blade because it deals much more damage compared to his Swift Strike. Even with William's trait to boost up his base attack here. So now I'll just use Mythesia's basic ability to reserve her special ability and ultimate ability here. So as you notice, the guild boss removes all negative effect upon his turn. So now I'll use William's defense up buff and counter attack buff here. I'll skip Mythesia's turn with the Agile Leap to provide additional turn to Urzac. And I'll be repeating this process until you reach like very high rounds to deal massive amount of damage, and then the guild boss will be able to perform his damage to all my allies with massive amount of damage. I'll reserve Yolanda's shield when the boss performs a large AoE attack here. William does not take much damage because of the defense up buff here. Hopefully we can get a joint attack from Urzac to deal more damage. Right, so William's health is pretty low right now, so this is the good opportunity to use Mythesia's or Yolanda's shield. So probably I'll use Mythesia's healing first. We heal up everyone. Alright, we have reached level 30 on the guild boss. Let's heal William there. So this is the end of the battle result. So I've obtained around about 1.7 million damage, and with this damage dealt, I gain the 6-star gear, which is an attack piece, legendary rarity. But however, the stats is pretty awful. It doesn't have critical rate, critical damage, speed, or focus. So this is a junk. And I think the Ace developers need to revamp the reward on the clan boss, since dealing such a high amount of damage yields a very low quality gear drop rate. This one is not a useful piece as well. Let's check out the battle report. So as you notice, the most damage dealt is Uruzak, around about 1,678,163 damage, followed by Yolanda at 23,446 damage, and third would be Mytheasia. Oh, I think William and Mytheasia, because they are closely related, the same damage. And these are the damage taken. Basically, my Mytheasia is built much more tankier compared to Yolanda. That's why she can tank higher amount of damage. Yolanda and William receive quite similar amount of damage, around about 137,000. And Uzak received the least amount of damage because he has this block damage buff that reduces the incoming damage around about 15%. And these are the healing dealt. Mytheasia provides the most healing with her AoE healing, as well as the single target cleansing and healing abilities, followed by Mytheasia around about 78,960. Basically, I think this healing is from her revival set as well as Mytheasia. And so that's basically it. And also Uruzak and William also gain this healing through Mythesia's trait ability, the Gift of Life. We managed to survive until round 38 to achieve this 1.7 million damage. So that's the showcase of Mytheasia in the Water Guild boss if you plan to use her along with Uruzak, Yolanda and William to score a high points. So currently this is my best score, 1.7 million, followed by my guild member, which is ground 0 at 1.483 million. Alright, we are now in the Roaring Tulpa Arcane Dominator dungeon, where we will be able to farm the Terra set, Vanguard set, as well as the Rage set. So if you have Mytheasia, you can use her as your support hero to perform the AoE healing and also revival. But let me skip the formation to show you the team for Roaring Tulpa stage 12. And I'll use a common team that most players have. So I'll use Zlux as the main damage dealer, along with two epic heroes who are Sentis and Hackwind. Sentis is here to apply poison damage to the boss, so you will be able to take down the boss quickly at the boss wave, and Hackwind is here to provide additional defense stats through his trait, as well as increase max health up, so that my heroes will be able to tank the enemy's AoE attacks. And for the spells, I've selected Sundering Purgatory to apply the defense downs to make it easier for Zlux to deal massive amount of damage through his ultimate ability as well as his basic attack. And the second spell I have here is Gaia's Renewal to provide supplementary healing on top of Mythesia's AoE healing. So let's start the battle. So for the target priority, I'll just select the boss for Roaring Tulpa stage 12. In order for your Zlux to perform the kill with his ultimate ability, you'll need to have at least 4,000 attack and over 200% critical damage. And ideally, Hackwind should be faster than Zlux for stage 12 dungeon, so that he will be able to apply the increased max health up. And by the time he reaches the boss wave, you'll be able to gain at least 2 stacks of increased max health up that gives a total of 30% max health up. And I have disabled Sentis abilities so that she'll only focus on prioritizing her basic attack to apply poison. So as you notice, the boss performed his AoE attack, reduced massive amount of damage. That's where Gaia's Renewal is useful here, to bring the health back to tip-top shape. And the boss and the enemies here will target the weakest element hero, which are Hackwind and Sentis, And currently, I think Hecrin has the highest health compared to Sentis. Let's do a check. And yes, currently Hecrin has 23,000 health and Sentis has 21,000 health. So the boss or enemies here will target the weakest element, followed by the neutral element, which is the wood element, that is Zedlax and Mytheasia, followed by the stronger element, which is the fire element heroes. Right, Sentis' health is pretty low here. Hopefully Mytheasia can come in with her healing. Or shield, yeah. The shield placed on Sentis provide her some sustainability there. Right, so the boss health has dropped below 50%. That's where he applied this border around him to indicate how many turns you have left to defeat the boss. Once the boss have 4 borders, the next turn he'll be able to deal massive AoE true damage that you cannot block at all. And Hecrin provide increased max health up to everyone so that they'll be able to heal themselves each time they perform an ability. So as you notice, like Zedlax, Hecrin or Sentis, whenever they perform an ability, they will heal themselves there. So that's the showcase for Roaring Tulpa Stage 12 using Epic Heroes along with Mytheasia. And this run took around about 2 minutes and 44 seconds. Right, so let's click back. And let me show you Mytheasia in the Hell Mode Stage 2, or also known as the Stage 14. I'll skip the formation to show you the team. So this team will not work for Hell Mode Stage 2 because the boss will deal massive amount of damage and you only have 2 turns to destroy the shield before the boss deals AoE true damage. Stage 12 is much more lenient or easier because you have 4 turns, whereas for Hell Mode Stage 1 and 2, you only have 2 turns. And the difference between Hell Mode and the regular stages is that the first 2 waves, they have the big boulder guy to deal massive amount of damage to your heroes. Hence, you'll need a more stronger hero to clear the first 2 waves quickly. So I'll use Garrel as my main damage dealer to wipe out the first 2 waves, and Gangelo will be there to support Garrel to break down the boss shield. And as usual, I'll use Hecrin to divert the attention away from Mytheasia, Garrel and Gangelo. And for the spells, I'll be using Sundering Purgatory to make it easier for Garrel to deal damage, and what's this called, the Last Breath to revive Hecrin since he'll be dying most of the time, and the Revival spell will have a long cooldown to revive him. Alright, so Gangelo will begin the turn first because he has the highest speed, and it's best to use heroes with a higher speed and focus to apply the Sundering Purgatory because the defense down spell, right, depends on the amount of focus stats on the hero. Alright, so left 1 big boulder, and this big boulder will kill Hecrin because he's the weakest element and receive 50% more damage. And that's where the Last Breath spell comes in to quickly ramp up the increased max health up to all allies, so they'll be able to tank the AoE damage dealt by the enemy in the second and the third wave. Alright, so the big boulder guy is down, remaining 2 minion golems here. Alright, so this wave is cleared. Now we are moving on to the second wave, where we'll need to clear this big boulder guy as well. Currently, Mythesia's revival ability has been nerfed. Previously, when she revived her allies, the dead allies will be able to take the turn within the same round. Alright, so the last breath comes in right on time, so that we'll be able to get at least 3 max health stacks up. So this team I would not recommend you to use to speed farm because it's not so reliable. However, you can use this team to get the first clearance of first clear rewards for the Helmut Stage 1 and Helmut Stage 2. And now Hecarim applies the maximum amount of increased max health up before he rests in the battle. That's where Hecarim comes in again with the Mythesia's revival here. And the revival process, right, does not provide much health to the revived heroes, which makes it quite difficult for them to survive. Hence, you need to pair them with another like support hero that is capable of applying massive amount of shield to the revived heroes, or a large shield like Yolanda. Yolanda can provide a big shield to protect them from dying again. So once Hecarim is revived back, then he'll be able to take the damage instead of Mytheasia here. It will direct the attention of the enemies. And now the boss has generated this large shield, as you can notice there, when his health dropped below 50%, and you only have 2 turns to break down this shield before he performed the AoE true damage. Alright, the shield has been broken. I think probably it will take some time, maybe close to round 20 to clear this Roaring Tulpa. Hopefully the boss can go down this round. Alright. So let's check out the battle report. So this team took around about 4 minutes and 47 seconds, around about close to 5 minutes. And with this team, you're able to at least clear this Helmut Stage 1 and 2. And my luck is not that lucky. I only get some like Terra Rings, which has a bad substats. Ideally, this one would be like defense and health percentage, and agility and those things. So these two will be junk. And that's the showcase for Mytheasia in Roaring Tulpa. Alright, so we are now in the Queen of Tides Arcane Dominator dungeon, where we'll be able to farm 3 unique gear sets, which are the Warrior set, Curse set, as well as the Revival set. Warrior set is mainly used for damage dealers as it boosts their attack stats by 15%. And Curse set is a 4-piece set that allows your heroes to have a 35% chance to perform a bonus attack, and this one can only be triggered once per turn. And finally, we have a Revival set that restores 10% of the max health at the start of your turn, or 20% if under 50% health. Revival set is most commonly used for supported heroes and debuffed heroes, where you want them to sustain in a lengthy battle. And Curse set is useful to amplify the amount of damage dealt within the shortest period of time. And it's also useful for debuffed heroes that is capable of applying negative effect on their basic ability, such as like Sentis or Ganchelo, to apply more poison debuff. And it's also particularly useful for heroes that implements a rage meter, such as like Garrow, that each time they perform their basic abilities, they'll be able to charge up. And then once they are fully charged up, then they can use their ultimate abilities and those things. So let me show you the team formation on how I'll clear Queen of Tides using Mytheasia. And for this team, instead of using Hecarim like I used for Roaring Tulpa, I'll swap out with Kain, who is an epic wood hero, which is this bear. And he's quite useful in this dungeon because he has the ability to remove or strip away the positive effect from the enemies, such as the right-hand guard, who will be having this joint attack buff, delivered by the left target, as well as to remove the positive effect from the boss to prevent her from reaching 4 positive effect that unlocks her ability to perform the water bomb. And for the team formation, I have Mytheasia here to support her allies. Zedlux as my main damage dealer to clear the first 2 waves. Sentis will be there to support Zedlux to defeat the boss with her poison. Kain to strip away the positive effect. And for the spells, I'll be using Sundering Purgatory to apply the defense down to make it easier for Zedlux to knock out the first 2 wave. And Guy's Renewal for the supplementary healing. So let's see them in action. At the start of the battle, I have disabled Sentis' ability, so she'll be primarily focused to use her basic attack to apply poison. And she'll be speed tuned to go first because she has the highest focus to apply the defense down to prevent the enemies from resisting them. You can substitute Kain with Hecarim if you have built him by completing the hero synthesis. Alright, so at the boss stage, the target priority will be to take down the right target first to prevent the right target from healing the boss up to 30% of her max health. And once that right target is defeated, then we will focus on the boss here. So I'll be disabling Kain's abilities so that he'll probably focus to use his basic ability to strip away the buff. So that's the joint attack buff that is applied by the left target. If you click on the info tab here, this is the joint attack buff that grants the right target to perform a joint attack alongside of any attacks done by any of his allies. And this is the buff, such as like the critical resistance up that is applied by the boss each time she takes her turn. So there's this Blessing of the Empress skill, the passive skill that every 2 rounds she will buff herself with 1 positive effect, and once she has at least 3 positive effects, she will launch a bonus attack with the Dragon Bomb, also known as the Water Bomb. And that's where Kain's basic ability strips away that joint attack buff. This makes it easier for your team to survive the enemy AoE attacks. The Guy's Renewal spell is quite useful here because it applies a buff, and with this buff, right, whenever my heroes attack, such as Zedlux, he'll be able to gain this healing from Mythesia's Gift of Life trait. And we are now almost taking down the right target here. He has like 20% health. And whenever a attack guard is being defeated, right, you will strip away all of the positive effect from the boss. And Kain is pretty useful here to mitigate 20% of the damage dealt by the enemies to his allies to himself. So it will be quite important to build your Kain with high amount of health to tank the damage. Alright, so that is the Water Prison spell cast by the boss. Mytheasia cleansing will be quite useful here to to remove away the Water Prison. However, the AI is not that smart. You only perform the ability, then my allies' health drop below a certain threshold, maybe like below 80%. So once Kain is able to focus on the boss will not be able to perform her Dragon Bomb anymore. If you find that your heroes aren't able to tank the damage, then you need to build them with higher amount of health and defense stats. Probably for your supported heroes such as Kain, Mytheasia and Sentis. For debuffed heroes such as like Kain and Sentis, they will require a higher amount of focus, at least 60 to 80% for stage 12 to be able to perform their role well. Ideally, you need to get at least 80% focus. Alright, so the boss health is now 20%. Hopefully within 2 rounds we'll be able to defeat the boss quickly. After this run, I'll be showcasing Mytheasia in Hell Mode Stage 2. Using this similar composition, I'll swap out Kain with another hero. Alright, the boss has been defeated. So let's click finish here. So this run took around about 5 minutes. So once you're able to farm a lot of revival sets from Queen of Tides stage 10 to 12, then I will highly recommend you to replace Mytheasia with another, maybe a supporter hero to speedrun this dungeon. Because revival set is quite useful to replace the healers for more heroes to speedrun the dungeon, such as like you can use Hulens to apply the unhealable, so you can skip the target priority from targeting the right tag guard, so you can just target the boss herself. And now let me show you Mytheasia in Hell Stage 2. For this run, instead of using Kain, I'll be using a underrated legendary wood hero who I've recently obtained through the Advanced Summoning Crystal, which is Desmond. I wasn't able to obtain Tashir during the 300% rate up, so probably I can use Desmond instead to showcase him along with Mytheasia. And I'll be using Sentis to support Desmond because he has a limitation with his Plague ability, where his Plague will not be able to defeat the enemy. And it also depends on the amount of health that the enemies have. So for the spells, I'll be using the same, which is the Sunray Purgatory and Gaia's Renewal. So the setup will be the same. I'll be using this with her abilities disabled. Whereas for Desmond, his abilities will be enabled, so he'll be able to perform his ultimate ability on the boss. Right, so Zelax is managed only to kill one of these big crab, and the heroes would not be able to sustain from the crab AoE attack. That's where Mytheasia comes in with her ultimate ability to revive everyone. And Zelax will be here to finish off the remaining enemies after revival. And this gives enough sufficient time to recharge the Sunring Purgatory to apply the defense down, so that Zelax can finish off the 3 mini crabs here. And on the second round, we'll be able to finish off this big crab. Alright, so that is wave 2 completed. Now let me show you the target priority. The target priority will be to remove the right tag guard, because he'll be able to heal the boss, followed by the elite on the left hand side to increase your hero's ability to survive the enemy attacks, and finally the boss. If your heroes are tanky enough, you can skip the left tag guard and just primarily focus on the boss. So that's where the Desmond Plague comes in. He will require this Plague Emissary applied to himself first in order to apply the Plague each time the enemy heroes takes their turn. And it's pretty random. You apply on the one random hero followed by another hero. And you will keep on increasing. And this Plague debuff has an expiry duration of 3 turns if it's not refreshed. The bad part about this plague, right? It does not deal much damage to the shield. Mostly on the amount of health that the enemies have. Alright, The red tag is down, now we can focus on the boss here. Another thing that I dislike about Desmond is he basically damages himself whenever he's performing the plague. Right, the boss health is 7%. And we completed the run in 15 rounds. Alright, so this run took around about 3 minutes and 50 seconds, which is much faster compared to my nuke team, which consists of like Bulin, Hydresia, Santis and Head Queen. This time is quite random because it also depends on how fast that Desmond is able to apply the plague and ramp it up. And I obtained 2 gear sets. One is a revival set and warrior set. Both are not good sets, so they are basically gear enhancement materials. Alright, so we are now in the Gemini Dragon Arcane Dominator dungeon, where we'll be able to farm 3 unique gears, which are the guard set that provides the shield, divine set to allow your heroes to counter attack, and rebel set to allow your heroes to have a chance to stun the enemy. Let me showcase Mytheasia in this team. So I have Mytheasia here as my support hero. As usual, she'll be there to provide AoE healing and single target cleansing. And for Santis and Gadgelo, they'll be primarily the damage dealer to nuke down the boss with the poison, and finally Head Queen is there to provide additional defense stats for them to survive the enemy attacks, and also apply his increased max health up to provide them with additional health to tank the damage. However, for Gemini Dragon, he has the ability to strip them away, so basically it's not so useful in this scenario. For the spells, I'll be using the defense down to allow my heroes to do additional damage although they're not attacker heroes. And finally, for the second spell, I have the Geist Renewal as the supplementary healing on top of Mythesia's AoE healing. So this battle will be pretty fast, around about 1 minute and 30 seconds. So at the start of the battle, Gadgelo will perform his ultimate ability, followed by Santis. I have disabled Santis' ability so that she'll consistently apply the poison. And once the dragon takes her turn, then Mytheasia will come in to perform the AoE healing with the Geist Renewal, followed by Head Queen. And as you notice, the boss will be able to use his lightning attack to strip away this buff, so it's not so useful in this scenario. However, for those allies that still have the remaining buff, they'll be able to gain additional healing through Mythesia's Gift of Life trait. And once the boss health drops below 50%, then the boss will be able to deal bonus attack turn, and you only have 2 turns to knock him out with your poison. So that is the lightning AoE attack, and that's where Mytheasia comes in with her AoE healing, which is crucial because she must not perform any attack, otherwise the boss will have this Fury. As you notice, the boss already has this nice stack of Fury that provides him with a 45% attack. 9 times 5 would be 45%. And if Mythesia's abilities are disabled and only perform her basic attack, this Fury will increase to 10 and enters the Berserk mode, which deals massive amount of damage that your heroes will not be able to survive. Alright. So now the boss health is around about 30%, and he'll be knocked out by the poison once he has around about 6 poison stacks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Each poison will deal 6% damage, so 6 times 6 will be around about 36% max health damage from the poison. So after the dragon boss fly over, he gets killed by the poison. So this is how the team works for Gemini Dragon 12, and you can use this same speed tuning for Helmet Stage 1 and Helmet Stage 2. So this run took around about 2 minutes because I paused the battle for some time. So let me demonstrate Mytheasia in the Hell Stage 2 for Gemini Dragon. I'll be using the same team setup along with the spells. And for Hell Mode Stage 2, the minions are much more faster than Gangelo and Sentis, but you don't need to worry because with the same speed tuning, they'll be able to remove the positive effect that's applied by the right minion here. And since, right, as you notice, the boss has applied this focus down a negative effect, so you need to have Gangelo and Sentis to have 130% focus or more if you want to use Mytheasia as your support healer. Because if you just provide them with only 100% focus, then they have a 30% chance to miss their poison, miss the ability to apply the poison to the boss, which will make the run fail. However, if you swap out Mytheasia with Blackhorn has the ability to summon the totem that cleanses away this focus down negative effect, which makes it easier to build your poison heroes there. And those who have this remaining buff that is not stripped away by the boss, then they'll be able to gain the benefit of healing themselves through Mythesia's Gift of Life trait. So now the boss has health below 50%, that's where he gained a bonus turn. And now my heroes are severely injured, close to 50% health. And then Mytheasia will come in with her healing, although it's not that useful because he only heals single target ally here. And this team composition, you will need to equip them in a revival set so that they'll be able to heal themselves without depending on Mythesia's AoE healing. So there you have it. This is Gemini Dragon Hell Mode Stage 2 with Mytheasia. That's Alright, so we are now in the Wish of the Wind Arcane Dominator dungeon, where we'll be able to farm the Raptor set, Assassin set, and the Fate set. Raptor set provide additional 20% focus. Assassin set, on the other hand, will allow your attacker heroes to deal 50% more damage at a 50% success rate. And finally, Fate set, which is only useful for healers, as it only converts the 50% of healing provided into a shield that lasts for one turn. This one requires specific speed tuning, where all your heroes must go first before the enemy to take advantage of this shield that is created by the Fate set. So the team will be somewhat similar to the previous Arcane Dominator dungeon. I'll be using Gangelo and Sentis as my primary poison damage nukers for the boss. Telex, on the other hand, is to clear the first two waves, and finally Mytheasia is to revive her allies if they are killed by the enemy, and also support them with some cleansing and healing. The spells will be the same: Guise Renewal for supplementary healing and defense down to make it easier for Telex to clear the first two waves. And the enemy speed in the first two waves is much more faster compared to all of the 4 dungeons, where you notice here Deluxe seems like pretty slow, and in order to begin the game before the enemies, you need to have I think around about 145 speed and above, or 150 speed around there. And I have disabled Sentis abilities so that she'll only focus to use her basic ability to apply poison here. I'm not so worried whether the Harpy will be able to knock down Zetlux because I have Mytheasia here to revive him in case this happens. Alright, so we're now on the wave 3 where the boss is located. For the target priority, I'll be selecting the right wing guard followed by the boss. The right wing guard is able to apply a massive shield to the boss. That's why we'll need to knock him out first, prevent him from slowing down the run. And do take note that the boss will be able to apply this no positive effect that prevents your hero from gaining shield buff from Mytheasia. And without this buff on them, you will not be able to benefit from Mythesia's Gift of Life trait. Alright, so the right wing guard is down. Now we can focus on the boss here. The boss will take a turn and expires that shield buff. Right, that like is almost dying there. A bit of life left. And my heroes are unable to recover much health using the revival set because of this bleeding negative effect that deals damage based on the boss total attack stats here. And I think both of my poison heroes will get killed by the damage dealt by the enemy here. It's too strong to survive against those attacks. Then Mytheasia will come in with her revive ability. And then all my heroes will take their turn to knock the boss out. So there you have it. That's how this Mytheasia team works. And this run took around less than 3 minutes to complete. Alright. Now we are on the Ash Magisteria Arcane Dominator dungeon. I highly recommend you not to use Mytheasia here because Mytheasia will receive 50% more damage from the fire element enemies here. Ash Magisteria dropped 3 unique gear sets as well. Raider set for additional 15 speed. A very set that allows your heroes, AoE heroes, to deal 50% more damage and attacking over an area, which only can be triggered every 1 round, like similar to Curse set. And finally, Dragon Scale set allows your heroes to take 30% less damage from critical strike, which is only useful for Arena. So let me show you the team using Mytheasia here. I have Natalia, Hequin and Santis, as these are the most common epic heroes that people will be using. Mytheasia will be here to heal her allies as well and to revive any heroes that is being killed. And I will show you the limitation of Mytheasia in a short moment. And for the spells will be the same Geist Renewal for additional healing and Sundering Purgatory to make it easier to defeat these enemies. So the enemies here are pretty slow, that's why you'll notice most of my heroes can begin their turn first compared to the Wish of the Wind. And if you like to have Natalia to have this additional buff triggered from her passive skill, is highly recommended to speed tune your Hequin to go first before Natalia. Otherwise, you can use a guard set that is obtainable through the Gemini Dragon so that she has a shield to trigger her passive ability to gain this attack buff and the immune buff. So now the boss has already applied this bomb, which has a 3-turn timer here. And if you do not remove this bomb buff, you will apply an AoE damage true damage to all of your heroes and also stun them. So as you notice here, right, in the info tab, Mytheasia has this ability Healing Force that is able to cleanse away all negative effect. And this skill is available and it's not on cooldown. However, Mythesia's AI does not seem to use it to cleanse away the bomb debuff on Hequin. This is why you don't see players using Mytheasia here to cleanse away that bomb. Unless the Ace developers changes her AI to remove this bomb, then it should be useful here. So now the bomb will tick after Hequin ends his turn here. So that's the AoE true damage, which knock out Natalia. So that's the AoE revive from Mytheasia. So that's how the end runs the field. So I highly recommend you not to use Mytheasia in Ash Magisteria. Alright, so we are now finally at the arena where I'm currently at Platinum 5. Which is the lowest ranking here. And I could use Mytheasia to support me to reach all the way to Diamond 5 here to gain these additional rewards. So let's see Mytheasia in action in Arena, where I'll use her in 2 different team composition. One is mostly a defensive team, and second one will be a mixture of defensive and nuking team. So let me try one of the Arena defense team here. That consists of Blackhorn, Asrina, Hydrisia, and who's this? Evera. Mostly are damage dealers supported by one water hero here. So probably I can try a counter attack team from Garrett and Lydia, and supported by, probably you can use a queen here for additional defense. Right, the enemy team is much more faster than mine, so that's where Avera comes in to use her AoE attack. Alright, so now my heroes are pretty injured. That's where I can use either the Trance Synergy or Guy's Renewal. So probably I'll reserve this one to revive my heroes in case they get killed. Right, so I'll apply a shield on maybe Lydia to protect her. And probably I'll use it against Asrina since Avera already taken her turn there. Right, so we have already took down 2 enemies due to the bonus attack that he gained from the curse set. Now I'll increase the max health on all of my heroes so they will be able to have at least 1 buff to heal themselves up. The Hydresia is pretty slow here, so perhaps I can use Lydia's ultimate ability to knock down Hydresia. That was almost close to nuke down Hydresia. Okay, everyone's in full health. Probably I can attack to grant a shield. Knock down Hydresia here. Quite close. Alright, so we are now dealing with their Blackhorn. And now we can use Mythesia's Healing Force to remove this attack down that was applied by Blackhorn. So there you have it. This is a mixture of defensive and damage dealer team. Alright, we have found a worthy opponent that they use 2 defensive heroes, which is Tasha, the new legendary hero that you can obtain through the 300% rate up, supported by Queen, and they have 2 damage dealers here. Alright, so we are now in Arena Platinum 4. We now found ourselves new challenges. So let's try out this Arena defense team that consists of the new legendary hero Tashir. So you check here, Tashir, Natalia, Avera and Queen. So they have 2 defensive heroes and 2 damage nukers. So let me do the same. Maybe I'll use 2 defensive heroes as well. And probably 2 attacker heroes. Here I will have Bulin and Edicris. So let's try this team and see how tanky that Tashir can defend themselves. Alright. Wow, they already place. Oh, okay. So basically Bulin will apply buff to himself, and that's where Tashir's trade triggers by applying additional 2 buff, which is pretty cool. That's something cool. Let me apply the defense down, followed by the AoE induction. Okay, am I able to strip it away with Edicris Elemental Incendiary? I don't think you can remove that. Interesting. Okay, what else can I do? Let me try and give a bonus turn to Bully. So probably this will increase the... Wait, did she just apply a buff? Or maybe that's the animation where Tashir applies the speed up buff. So let me probably heal up everyone. Let's take down their Head Queen here. Oh, that's where the speed up buff resets once it reaches 8 max stacks. Let me try to apply this guy's renewal. Does it increases her speed up buff? Oh, it doesn't. Interesting. So it's only hero skills. And you cannot strip away this positive effect. I wonder what is it called. Oh, they just call it a speed up buff. Plus 10 speed, max 9 stacks. Yeah, I thought it's only 8 stacks. Is it a bug? Max 8 stacks and remove at the end of the round. This one mentioned max 9 stacks instead. Okay. Alright, so that's Tashir. Quite cool. But the defense team does not really uses her well. I will change it to maybe have a crowd controller, or maybe there are wind strike as well to cut in. Let's try another one. Probably another one, which is this one. Another AoE speed nuke team. Instead of using God Fairy, let me try a different strategy here. Maybe I'll use full counter attack team. Lydia, Carol, Belberith, and Mytheasia. Alright, so let's try to maybe apply defense down. A bit easier to defeat them. Heal up everyone. Look down maybe a Uran. Look down the Natalia. And finally clear up the wind strikes. Alright, using Mytheasia to revive everyone up. Let's try this team. So let me apply the defense down. 1%. Clap everyone. Right, let's take down their AoE nuker here. Who has the highest health here? Garrel. I think Garrel will be able to perform some healing. Let's knock down Uran. Alright, so that is the Mytheasia team with 3 attacker or damage dealers. Alright, to wrap things up, I'll use the Void Tower HUD as the final showcase for Mytheasia. And these enemy heroes are fire affinities, which deals 50% more damage to Mytheasia here. So the team composition that I'll be demonstrating Mytheasia here will be Hecarim and Bran, along with Cyrus. So Hecarim here is to provide additional defense stats up to prevent Mytheasia from losing her health quickly. And with Hecarim's increased max health up, she'll be able to tank the additional damage through her health. Bran on the other hand will be supplying the attack down debuff on the enemies whenever the enemies attack his allies. Also apply the AoE defense up to improve Hecarim's defense stats as well as Mythesia's stats. And Cyrus is on the other hand is the main damage dealer to wipe out these 4 main enemies in this Void Tower Hard Floor 41. For the spells I'll be using Roaring Purgatory and Gaia's Renewal. Alright, so we are now on Wave 2. Wave 2 has 4 fire heroes. They will be targeting Mytheasia since she's the weakest affinity here. I'll apply this Roaring Purgatory on the enemies and buffing up my attacker hero and his allies with the defense up buff. I think Cyrus can now use her ultimate ability. I believe we can wipe out the enemies here. Oh, they're pretty strong. Wait, Mokna is gaining a lot of bonus turn here. Let's ask Runa nuke. So seems that everyone's health is pretty stable at full health here. So probably I can attack like Zachary here. Oh, that's a lot of bonus attack. I just stun that Mokna guy. Let me increase up my max health to improve Mythesia's survivability. The reason why the enemies doesn't deal much damage is because of the defense up buff here. Can I crowd control Mokna? Oh, more bonus attack. Okay, let me wipe them out with Cyrus AoE attack. We managed to take down Hecarim. And the attack down also helps a lot to reduce the damage. The best way to defeat Mokna is you need to have a strong AoE nuke attack. Alright, 2 more remaining. Alright, so let's cleanse away all this negative effect applied by the enemies. Oh, his shield is pretty annoying. Keep gaining bonus time. Let me heal up everyone. Okay. Alright, so let's wait for one more turn here. So on the next round, I'll boost up everyone attack up and deal massive amount of damage to this Mokna guy. Right, defense down. Back up. Cyrus to knock him down. Alright, so that's the showcase of Mytheasia against 4 fire element heroes here. Let's check out the battle report. Most of the damage will be dealt by Cyrus. Damage taken is by Mytheasia. Oh, only Mytheasia because Bran's shield protects almost all of the heroes here. And these are the healing dealt. Basically, Hecarim, Bran, and Mytheasia has this revival set on them. Help them heal. Alright, so that's the showcase of Mythesia's skills, and hopefully you got some ideas on how to build her with the right stats, gears, as well as the heroes to synergize with her to make good use of her trait so that you will be able to improve their survivability in the battlefield. If you enjoy this content, be sure to give this a like, subscribe if you haven't, and also ring the notification bell to stay up to date whenever I post a video to this channel. Apart from that, to learn more about Awaken Chaos Era content, you can visit my website at ayumilove.net and join my Discord, which I have a link in the video description if you like to request some help on your Awaken Chaos Era progression. And if you like to support me, you can head over to patreon.com/ayumilove to be a supporter there, or you can send money through to my PayPal account. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! Oh yeah, before I end this video, if you like to know how I built the other heroes to synergize with Mytheasia, you can check out my video guides that I have for my Arcane Dominator dungeons to get an overview of how I built each of these heroes and the required stats to achieve in order for them to run successfully in those dungeons at stage 12 and the Hell Mode stage 2.